guys, it's Ty the dog guy Ty the dog guy on the daily. Welcome to the daily vlog / podcast. And I wanted to talk today about socialization. Now, I know I brushed on this topic before. I've spoken about how much I dislike dog parks and about how much almost every dog trainer hates dog parks. And so this is a topic that I broached before. But I want to get a little bit deeper and kind of help people understand really what we're trying to do with socialization. Because like I say, in talking about how bad dog parks are, I talk about what not to do, but that doesn't really give a whole lot of information on what to do. And really, when you understand the whole purpose behind socialization, it makes it easier to know what to do. And not necessarily be told, okay, do this, this, and this, but really, if you understand the core reason on why you're doing something, it makes it easier to freestyle, to figure out what's best for you and your dog and things like that. So, socialization, I think, is a term that is so misused. Well, it's not misused, it's just the actual socialization that's done is misdone, perhaps. What I mean by that is it's very common that when somebody gets a puppy or rescues a dog, they say, okay, I need to go to the dog park to get socialization. I need to go to my neighbor's house who has a dog to get socialization. I need to get him around my nephew and niece to get socialization. And so what most people are, like the subtext here, what most people are saying about socialization, what they're wanting is they want their dog to get around stuff and ideally play with and interact with it. Meaning, let's get him to the dog park or get him to the neighbor's dog so that he can play and have a good time. Or let's get him around kids so that he can kind of play and interact with the kids and enjoy kids. And so I'm not saying that this is wrong on its face. What I am saying is that there's a more complete definition of socialization and what we want for our dogs. And really, basically what we want is we want our dog's socialization to quite closely mirror or parallel our socialization. And so in understanding that, really the purpose of socialization should be to teach dogs to leave things alone. Now I know that goes against almost what everyone out there thinks, what every dog owner thinks, in fact what a lot of dog trainers think as well. But really, at its core, socialization should be teaching dogs to leave things alone as a primary. Now, there's other components, but as a primary response to things in your environment, leave it alone. And think about this. Like I say, when I say that it needs to mirror or parallel, I guess those are different things, but I think they both apply. When it needs to mirror or parallel our socialization with our environment, think about what goes on in your environment. When you are in the line at the grocery store, you do not need to play with the people next to you. In fact, you shouldn't. You shouldn't you shouldn't strike up a game and say, you're in line at the grocery store like, hey, you want to play tic-tac-toe with the person sitting next to you? Or, when you're driving down the street and someone's driving towards you, you should completely ignore that car, enough to just pass it, but you shouldn't be like, hey, signaling out the window and saying, hey, pay attention to me, hey, and then when the person stops their car, slams on the brakes and looks at you and I just want to say hi, you want to play later? No, you really shouldn't do that. And the list goes on, and I'm not just talking about people, but the majority of dogs that you encounter, you should leave alone. You don't know if they're nice, you don't know if they're scared, you don't know if they're anxious, you don't know if they're aggressive. When you meet people, when you encounter people, most of them you should just leave alone. When you encounter dogs, you should mostly just leave them alone. When you encounter cats, you should mostly just leave them alone. When you encounter people's possessions, somebody else's car, leave that alone. Don't touch someone else's car. Don't touch someone else's house. Don't touch someone else's wallet or cell phone. The majority of stuff that we encounter in this world, we're just supposed to leave it alone. Because if we don't, if we're constantly trying to interact with everything we encounter, we've got a problem. That does not work. People do not work that way. If you work that way, the overwhelming Majority of everyone else doesn't, and so it becomes a problem. You aren't able to communicate in a human way when you're trying to communicate with everyone you meet. Yet this is what most people want from their dogs. They want their dog to see a dog and be like, cool, let me go play with it. But you don't know if the other dog's nice or anxious or aggressive or mean or whatever. And so why would you want your dog to interact with that? You don't know if the person approaching has good dog sense and knows enough to not bend over the top of your dog and freak him out and talk in weird tones. So why would you want everyone petting and, being around your dog? Your dog shouldn't be messing with other people's stuff and things like that. And so, like I say, it really needs to mirror our own socialization in the sense that the overwhelming majority of socialization should be structure and control based, teaching the dog to just kind of exist in this world that we've built, we humans have built, and just leave stuff alone, because dogs do not need constant interaction to be happy. They will not be happy with constant engagement with their environment. If they're constantly looking for a dog or a squirrel or a person or something to engage with, we've got a dog who isn't fulfilled. We've got a dog who has some serious troubles and a dog who needs to learn how to chill. And so your primary focus should be teaching the dog to relax, be calm, be structured, and just leave stuff alone. Now, is there a place for play with this other dog? Absolutely. We as humans should too. We should go to parties. We should play pickup basketball. We should go to the lake on the weekend with friends. We should get together with family at Thanksgiving. We should, the list goes on and on of the things that we should do that are nothing more than fun and interaction with other people and things and objects. Like, there's a time for that, and we should do that. Otherwise, we're not going to have a balanced life ourselves. But if that's all we're doing is looking for the next engagement, the next adrenaline hit, the next adrenaline high, we're gonna run into some big problems, and so will our dogs. So, teach your dog how to have fun in an appropriate way. Have your dog play. Have your dog do all these things that we want him to do, but recognize where the ratio should be. And it should be heavily weighted towards calmness, structure, and just simply existing within the environment and not having to play with or mess with everything that happens to be in that dog's environment.